It's time for NRCS Partyline here on KASM Radio. NRCS Partyline is brought to you through the courtesy of CHI Albany Area Health, Wimmer Opticians of St. Cloud, Atlas Chiropractic of White Park, and the offices of the Central Minnesota Credit Union. On this Wednesday, February the 11th, 2015, in studio with us, it's the Dirt Boys. Dennis Fuchs, woohoo! Administrator with the Stearns County Soil and Water Conservation District. Also, we have with us Mr. Dave Rose, District Conservationist with the National Resources Conservation Service.
Good morning.
Dave, you're supposed to have a sound effect, Dave.
Well, I don't meow.
Like a yelp or a woohoo or a yo, what's happening or something like that.
What's up?
What's up? Okay, Mr. 90s guy.
Yeah, there we go. Hey,
Good morning.
I don't know. That's kind of getting there. Yeah.
Good morning, gentlemen. What's going on?
Oh, I just feel skinnier today.
Because of your new belt, I heard.
Yeah, and it's just not a new belt. It's a bigger belt. And, God, I just feel like I lost pounds. It's not as tight as that old one that I had on the last notch.
Kind of like a girdle or what?
No, It just gives me more room to move. What's for lunch?
A little expansion space.
You'll need another belt to keep that up.
All right.
Okay. How
do you transition now?
I don't know where we go with that.
Speaking of health.
Oh, there we go.
Wow.
There we go.
Very smooth.
We had a great speaker last week over at the Sauk Rapids Government Center, Jay Fear, who's the soil health specialist over at North Dakota.
Yeah, he's based in Bismarck.
Based in Bismarck, and he was a district conservationist like Dave for, I don't know,
34 years.
Yeah, so he came.
I know, that's a while, isn't
Woo! Tick-tock goes the clock.
I know, yeah.
And he's been doing a lot of stuff on improving soil health with the farmers in North Dakota. And North Dakota's different than Minnesota. You know, they got a lot more grazing, beef, and we got a lot more dairy and corn, soybeans here. So he still had a lot of good ideas on things that we can do to improve soil health in our area. And one of the things I picked up off the internet from NRCS is, 5 questions you should ask farmers about what they can do to improve soil health. And the first question, do you build organic matter in the soil? And it goes on to say organic matter may be the most important indicator of a farm's potential productivity. The amount of soil organic matter often determines the price farmers will pay to rent or buy land. Finding a farmer who is interested in building organic matter by using practices like no-till and cover crops is like finding a bank with a better rate on a certificate of deposit. So it's like building your bank account when you improve your soil health. And there's a lot of things that you can do. One is try to keep something living on that soil as long as possible. And after you harvest, putting something else out there to cover it during the winter, and maybe even like something like a winter annual that'll start sprouting come March, April, and then you can knock it down when you come back in with your corn, soybean. And then also minimize disturbance. And we've got manure here in Stearns County, central Minnesota, lots of livestock. We've got chickens, turkeys. We got to somehow incorporate that manure. So figuring out how to do this. And one of the questions that folks here in Minnesota asked Jay is, how do we handle our manure? What's the best way to get it incorporated, maximize those nutrients, minimize your losses through evaporation, volatilization? And he said, I'm not going to lie, I don't have a good solution. And in North Dakota, what they did is they put these soil health teams together where farmers sat down and talked about how they can do things better. And they know the principle. So the principle is try to maintain something growing on the landscape as long as possible, minimize disturbance. So those 2 things, and then you build off of it. So maybe you can incorporate your manure, inject it, and call that, your one-pass system, and then come back in and plant in spring. So there's things that we can be doing, and we're not going to solve the problem ourselves sitting behind a desk looking at a computer. We need the farmers to help us identify solutions to soil health.
And Jay was very honest when he was talking about their process that they went through over there. It took many years to trial and error. They stubbed their toes. They tried things out, and until they were starting to see some real benefits of what they were doing. But they learned what didn't work, what did work, and that type of stuff. So we're not the concepts are what we're advocating, and then figuring out how to make those concepts work here is something that we'd like to partner with the farmers in Stearns County.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just going to finish up these 5 questions quick for farmers. The other one is, do you soil test at least once every 4 years? He says maintaining fertility and pH levels are important for your farm's productivity, and regular soil testing can get you there. And then, do you use no-till practices? And this kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier with the amount of manure. We want to see how we can incorporate manure and minimize soil disturbance, and we can do that as we start working with farmers to come up with strategies. And cover crops, that's coming in after your normal crop, say corn, soybean, oat, alfalfa, and trying to come in there with something that can be used as a cover crop. And the other one is, what can we do together to improve soil health on my land? This is something that both landowners and tenants have to think about in long term. You're not going to see these results happen overnight. It's going to take several years for it to kick in. And he says, according to this person that wrote this, the duration of the lease agreement is perhaps the most critical matter in encouraging the adoption of these soil health management systems. Farmers can actually build the productivity capacity and resiliency of their landowner soil, but it may take several years to realize that benefit.
Okay. With that, let's take a break. We've got 9:30. It's KASM Radio, KASM Albany, 1150 AM. KDDG Albany, 105.5 HD2, sunshine, 6 above. More from our Dennis Fuchs and Dave Rose, the special guest this morning, after our break here on KASM Radio News Time right now.
From the newsroom, I'm Brent Palm.
Midwest Machinery brought you Markets, Minnesota Farm Network. We're visiting this morning with Dennis Fuchs and Dave Rose from the SWCD NRCS, and Dennis just ran through some soil health questions. Dennis, are we pretty much?
Yeah, and I just wanted to bring kind of this to a conclusion. So there's a lot of value in improving soil health. Organic matter is one. As you improve the health of your soil, you increase the ability of your soil to store water. You got more infiltration, and as that means you can weather the storm or the drought. If we don't get rain, for 2-3 weeks, and you're hoping that your crop is going to make it through that without any significant yield loss, improving your soil health will help you get there. Also, Jay Ferrer showed us some slides of a field that had a little more crop residue versus one that didn't, and just the soil temperature on these days when it's over 100 degrees, it was significantly cooler when you had good soil health and more vegetation growing. So there's just a lot of value to having improved soil health. And another one is nutrient cycling. They used to have crop residue row cleaners on their corn planter, soybean planter. They have now removed those and go right through the soil. It's so mellow. And like I said, this doesn't happen in a year or two. It takes several years for you to actually make these soil health improvements. But there's programs that we offer through our office, and Dave's going to talk a little bit about the Environmental Quality Incentive Program, the Conservation Stewardship Program, and these programs can help you try some of these concepts. And the other thing that Jay Fuhrer said, you don't need to throw in your whole 100-acre field or 1,000-acre field and try to do this. Just try a smaller portion, maybe a field that's off to the side, and try some of these cover crop concepts and watch this field over time and watch the yields and the inputs that you need to put into the crop rotation decrease over time, and yet you're still maintaining a very high level of productivity. So Dave is going to talk a little bit about some of the programs that we offer through our office.
Well, yeah, mentioned the Environmental Quality Incentives Program, and we talked about that on the radio here. Couple million times. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. And we bring it up a lot. It's our main program for working on resource concern issues out on the farm. And for soil health, we do have practices that we can do through that can assist with improving soil health, trying it out. And like Dennis said, I think that is the best recommendation. Try it out on a smaller field and just see how, cover crops or different kinds of methods to make improvements to soil health. Just try things out. That way you can watch it. It's not doing anything dramatic across the farm just yet, and so you can see the success on that yourself. Try out the things find out the things that don't work and things that do. So as far as EQIP, we have it's a continuous sign up, and we mentioned lots of times that if you have issues that you want to deal with on your farm, by all means come visit with our office. We have acceptance periods for applications where we take the ones we've received up to that point and we start we rank and score them for funding. So if you apply now, it would be looking at probably this fall as far as being looked at. But that just means that we can do the conservation planning with you on the property to make sure that what you want to have addressed is being addressed in the right way. The other program we have is the Conservation Stewardship Program, and that is also a continuous sign-up. However, through February 27th, we are accepting applications to be considered for funding this year. So anybody who is interested in that program, by all means, come on in our office and get signed up by the 27th, which is a little over 2 weeks. The best way to look at these two programs is that EQIP is our Fix-It program to fix issues that are out there, resource concerns, and the CSP is the enhancement program. In other words, you fix things, and now you're trying to do new and better things, make it better. And that's a good way to look at the difference between the two programs. Now, I mentioned conservation planning, and one of the things that we have talked about that a lot of times is being critical to the success of participating in either of these programs, as well as any of the programs that Dennis might have through the state with grant funds they may receive or state cost share or whatnot. That the importance of doing a conservation plan is it lets you have a full understanding of what is really going on that farm, you as the farmer, us as your assistants, and we figure out the best way to go forward. So some of the things that are that you can that your conservation plan can tell you, you're doing an inventory and assess the condition of the natural resources on or around your operation. It contains valuable information about the land and the operation. Like, for instance, we can give you up-to-date maps. We can give you some soil maps and get narratives of what the soil types, the types of plants and animals that might be present or could be present if you wanted to have them there. We can discuss alternatives for meeting the objectives that you have on your farm and addressing the natural resource needs that are there. And it helps you to make some decisions for now and in the future. So that's the kind of a tool that a conservation plan is not something, it's just a slapdash thing. We want to do it right. It's your plan, and we want to help you to get there.
I forgot to mention that when I was talking soil health, there is the Midwest Soil Health Summit at Alexandria next week, and that's at the Arrowwood Resort, February 18th, 19th, Wednesday, Thursday. And they've got some great farmers that are going to be talking about how they've implemented soil health principles in their farming operation. So if you're interested, just Google Midwest Soil Health Summit, and it'll pop up. It's one of the first things that show. And that's next week, February 18, 19, at the Arrowwood Resort at Alexandria, Minnesota. Or if you can't or don't have a computer and can't do that, just give our office a call at 320-251-7800, extension 3.
But Dennis, what's unique about what they're doing, what they're going to talk about at that convention, compared to what we've already talked about?
These guys are actually implementing it.
Okay.
We're going to have Gabe Brown, who is a farmer from Burleigh County, North Dakota. He's got 5,400 acres. That's 5,400 acres. And he's managing that with soil health conditions that really improve the productivity of his animals. And then they also got Ian Cunningham, a cow-calf producer from southwest Minnesota, Pipestone County. They're going to have Kent Solberg. He's a grazing specialist, and he's going to talk about designing complex cover crop blends. And that's the other thing that Jay Fuhrer mentioned is the cover crop blends. Mixing multiple species together is probably a better tool than just throwing one species out there. And they're going to be talking about doing this. And then Dr. Michael Lemon, he's a research microbiologist who's done a lot of studies evaluating soil microbiological responses to ag management. And I think what you're going to hear is the more you disturb the soil, the less biology you have in the soil. So those are just some of the folks that are going to be there. Midwest Soil Health Summit, this is the big one for the upper Midwest. And it's $175 for non-members, $125 for members if you're a member of the Sustainable Farming Association. And Google it, Midwest Soil Health Summit, or give us a call at the Soil Water Conservation District NRCS office at 320-251-7800, extension 3.
Wow, that was really good.
That was good.
Yeah, well, thanks. Hey, I got a little time here. Can we talk about the Minnesota Ag Water Quality Certification Program?
No. Yes, of course you can, Dennis. Yes, please do that.
Well, I think most of your listeners probably have heard us talk about this. This is a new program where the state has worked with NRCS, the EPA, and others in order to lay out a program that provides some certainty to producers that get certified that they're not going to see any new additional regulations, and the public has certainty that we're going to see water quality improvements over time. There's 4 pilot areas that were initiated in Minnesota, now down to 3, and we're part of one of those 3, and we're with the Middle Sauk River, and the other 2 are Whiskey Creek and Whitewater River. Whiskey Creek is up in the Red River Valley, and Whitewater River is over by southeast Minnesota, Winona country. And what we did as part of this program is to take a look at what farmers are thinking about through a knowledge, attitude, and practices study. And we sent out a survey to about 537 folks that farm in the Middle Sauk. And we had a response rate of about 26%. So that means we got about 140 surveys returned. And there was a kind of a surprising amount of don't know answers to questions like what is the biggest surface water challenge, or what is the pollutant of concern in tile? And the answers to those questions is phosphorus and sediment in surface waters, and the pollutant of concern in tile more often than not is nitrate. So those are a couple and then a lot of the folks, about half said they responded no to the question if their farm operation contributes nutrients, sediment, or bacteria to surface water. And there's a good chance that there is some contribution to the surface waters from folks' farms. So that was a very interesting survey that each one of the pilot areas are conducting. And then I just want to give you a quick update of where we're at in the Middle Sauk with certification. Right now, we've got 9 farms that are certified, and that results in 2,153 acres. Mark Lefebvre has assessed 36 farms, and there's 15 more that need to be assessed. And then there's also some folks that will be participating in the EQIP program that Dave talked about earlier to help them get in compliance. One of the things that you have to do in order to get certified is that you got to make sure that you are meeting today's regulatory rules. So is your feedlot in compliance? Do you have any feedlot runoff concerns? Well, you can work with Dave through the NRCS EQIP program to get that taken care of. The other thing that happened recently is that this program is going to be going statewide through the Regional Conservation Cooperator Partnership. Did I say that right?
Regional Conservation Partnership Programs, RCPP.
Okay, yeah, the RCPP program.
Right.
Well,
what? Yeah, we're right on top of that.
And it looks like that'll probably be 2016. And one of the things that the state is talking about, because this is such a new program, we're still trying to get the tool to work quicker. Right now, Mark is going through each field, each crop, and re-entering the data for each one of these scenarios, and it takes time. And we're trying to streamline the software. The Minnesota Department of Ag is the administrator of the agency, and administrator of the program. And what they're going to do is probably take this out into a smaller area of the state, which would include Stearns County, Benton County, and all the way out west to Big Stone, which would be a 12-county area. They'd probably use this as a way to check it out on a larger area without taking it statewide, but something that would allow them to see if there's things that are problematic. One of the things that I'm concerned about as we start working with more farmers and they want to participate more with EQIP, the Environmental Quality Incentive Program, are we going to have sufficient staff to provide the technical assistance to protect our natural resources with the farmers? So that's something that we're going to discover as we start rolling this out. I know in Stearns County, a lot of farmers are interested in running this tool, the Water Quality Ag Index tool, on their farm. And what that tool is a 0 to 10 index. It's unitless. It just kind of gives you a feel on how well you're protecting our natural resources. And if you get an 8.5 or higher score, then you can get certified. So it's just a great way for, a lot of farmers are doing a fantastic job. It's pretty easy to get halfway up that score with a 5. But boy, to get to 8.5, then you got to start really looking at some soil health principles. So it's
notice how that jumped in there.
Yeah. Yeah. What we talked about earlier.
Yeah. So bringing it all back.
So that tool is something that farmers are excited about because they understand what they need to do in order to get an 8.5. And a lot of folks, if they add grass waterways or cover crops as part of the solution to their natural resource plan, their conservation plan, they will score an 8.5 or higher. And the other thing is a lot of the farmers that are working with certified crop advisors score higher because they're doing a good job of following the University of Minnesota recommendations when it comes to fertilizer management. They're applying university recommendations for nitrogen and phosphorus, and it's just a great way to see if you're doing the right thing. The crop advisors help make that happen. The other thing, speaking of nitrogen, we have a nitrogen conference coming up, and you don't have to drive halfway across Minnesota to get there. It's right here in St. Cloud, and it's free.
Free is always a good price.
It's a good thing, and local, too.
Yes.
And this conference will focus on nitrogen management for crop producers and ag professionals. Nitrogen is essential for crop production, but many factors influence the efficient use of this nutrient in ag systems. Managing this nutrient effectively in Minnesota is important both for financial and environmental benefits. And we've got several wellhead protection areas in Stearns County that are seeing nitrate levels in their drinking water supply increase slightly. So doing the best job we can with nitrogen fertilizer is very important. And this is going to be at Best Western Kelly Inn, St. Cloud. And that's going to be Friday, March 6th. And it starts at 9 o'clock in the morning. And they've got some great speakers lined up. They've got a welcome from Dr. Fabian Fernandez, a new soil scientist with the University of Minnesota. We're going to have somebody talk about nitrogen fertilizer prices, Dr. Robert Mullen from the Potash Corporation. We're going to have climate trends and their implications, Dr. Mark Seeley from the University of Minnesota. We're going to have irrigated corn nitrogen guidelines. Dr. John Lamb is going to give you the latest update on what they're doing to those irrigated corn nitrogen guidelines. Bruce Montgomery from the Minnesota Department of Ag is going to talk about, can we protect groundwater supplies beneath our outwash sands? And we've got lots of those in Stearns County, about 50,000 acres of irrigated. We got lunch, and then in the afternoon they're going to have several breakout sessions. One on predicting nitrogen in-season loss, Breakout 2, nitrogen credits, and Breakout 3, nitrogen management for sandy soils. And they've got a suite of excellent speakers. This is just a fantastic workshop for farmers that want to do a better job of managing their nitrogen fertilizer. I see Josh Stamper, our new irrigation specialist with the University of Minnesota, is also going to be there on March let me get the date right, Friday, March 6th at the Kelly Inn. And if you're interested, you just need to register, and you can call our office or Google this conference, and it'll get you there too. But they really do want to get a head count to make sure that they get the right amount of meals prepared for the people that are attending. There is no charge for attending, but registration is requested. And this is all online. So if you Google Nitrogen Conference, Nitrogen, Minnesota's Grand Challenge and Compelling Opportunity, or Nitrogen Conference, Kelly Inn, Nitrogen Conference, St. Cloud, Minnesota, it'll pop up. Trust me.
Pop up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or they can call our office.
Yeah.
And that number again,
is,
if you hadn't heard that before, is 320-251-7800, extension 3.
Very good.
And we've got another workshop coming up. And in case you don't want to drive over to St. Cloud, this is going to be at the Melrose City Center on Thursday, March 12th, and we're not going to be back on the air until after this, so I better share this with the listeners too.
Yes.
We're going to have this is put on between our office and the Stearns County Environmental Services Department on helping livestock producers do a better job of managing their nutrients, and we're going to have several different speakers talk about nitrogen management and rules. And we're going to have Richard Greenis from the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency talking about the latest on the nitrate and nitrogen rules. And we're going to have another person from the Minnesota Department of Ag talk about how they go about developing nitrogen rules. And we're going to have somebody from the Environmental Services Department talk about the manure short form plan and record keeping. That's one of the things that we have identified as a deficiency with a lot of our producers in Stearns County, is that we don't do a good job of keeping track of where we apply manure. And it's tough to take credit if you don't document that. And then we're going to have a farmers panel, and that'll be moderated with Dan Martins and Matt Bruette. Dan Martins, University of Minnesota Extension. Matt Bruette, independent crop consultant. And also we're going to have on the panel Jerry Jennison from Bruton, Dennis Ritter from Melrose, and Steve Gretsch from Albany. And we're going to have free lunch and door prizes given away. Oh, my God. It just don't get any better than that. And then in the afternoon, we're going to talk about EQIP programs. And then we got a short break, and we're going to talk about the Discovery Farms. We got Tim Raditz from the Discovery Farms Minnesota program. And then in the afternoon, after Tim Raditz, we got Randy Pepin talking about economics of manure. The better you manage your manure, the more money you're going to make. And we all like that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's Thursday, March 12th at the Melrose City Center. And if you'd like to attend, give the Stearns County Environmental Services Department a call at 320-656-3613 and ask for Amber.
So we'll visit again next month?
Yeah.
March what did we set up? March the
24th.
We'll see you then.
All right.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Brad.
All right.
Thanks, Brad.
Dennis Fuchs from SWCD, Dave Rose, NRCS, KASM Radio. News coming up, KASM Radio.